Today on Dirt Road Cred, it is finally time to give the official driving review of the 5.7-liter Jeep Gladiator. We've had this Jeep home for a couple weeks, had the chance to drive it quite a bit, and it is now time to go out and test it in a few different scenarios. We're gonna take this thing through some rural central Pennsylvania roads, take it out on the highway, and then towards the end, even have a special guest on here to give his thoughts on this Jeep Gladiator. We've been having a ton of fun with it, and now it's time for you to come along with us and take this Jeep for a spin. If you are newer to the channel, or maybe you forgot to watch a couple of our videos, let's talk about what this Jeep is. So this is a 2025 Jeep Gladiator Dark Sky package. Now we started off with a stock Jeep and we added on a 2.5-inch Clayton Overland Plus suspension system with Steer Smart's front steering and a set of 37 by 1250 17-inch rim tires on here. So it's got a nice stance to it, but it is up in the air a little bit. Underneath, this thing is stock. So 373 gears in the front and rear axle. We did mention it has the Steer Smart steering up front, which really helped tighten everything up and give us a more comfortable ride. Stock bumpers up front, stock bumpers in the rear until we can swap them out. But the biggest thing with this Jeep is that it's got a 5.7-liter, 345 cubic inch America's Most Wanted 4x4 swap underneath the hood. It retains your factory 8-speed transmission, so you still get all 8 speeds there, and this thing really finds 8th gear very easily, as you will see when we go on the highway. What's nice also about this engine, it is a non-MDS V8. What that means is the cylinders do not shut down, much like the factory 6.4 392s. These do not shut down. You always get a V8 underneath the hood, and it's not going to turn into a 6-cylinder or a 4-cylinder like many other V8s in the market today. So those are some small specs about this Jeep, but just wanted to maintain the fact that you guys know this is factory 373 gearing on 37s with a 5.7 making 425 horsepower. If you'd like, I can rattle off a couple more numbers here to make it even more confusing for you guys, but V8's under the hood and stock gearing underneath this Jeep. So I think without further ado, why don't we take it for a spin around some rural roads first, and then we'll get it up to highway speeds. All right, we've got 84 cameras ready to roll. Let's fire this Jeep up and take it for a spin. It just doesn't get old. And this is already warmed up, so a cold start in this thing is absolutely wild. But let's turn the screen off, throw this thing into gear, and take it for a cruise. One thing that I said too off camera was what's really nice about the AMW swap versus my old 392 is the fact that you can actually like rev it up and it doesn't hang, like that throttle hang. Like when I would rev up my 392, it kind of just like hang at the RPM and slowly come down. The way this is tuned and how performance based it is, the throttle's very responsive. Like it seems so much more responsive than factory. Yeah, why don't we take it for a spin here? We're gonna go through some, let's see some rural roads first. Kind of act like we're just driving this thing, you know, like just like we would be. Right away though, the power is pretty much instantaneous. You have it, like even at low speeds, low RPM, you're not fighting like you would on the 3.6 to really get to that higher RPM to make the most power.
And it dogged.
Well, with the 37s.
Yeah.
I remember before we got this done, like when you were pulling out the one time and just having it would go to like 4,000 or 5,000 RPM. Like it sounded like you were like in a race car.
Yeah.
And now it's like I'm hovering at 1,500 RPM, going 35, 40 miles an hour like it's nothing. Like I don't even have to touch the throttle. So, and then when I do, like it barely has to downshift at all, which I think is just fantastic with this. The other thing I found really nice is when you go like from the electronic power steering to the serpentine belt, the engine driven steering, just how much better that is. Like it drives smooth, clean, steers very easy. And even with the 373 gears, I don't think there would be much room. I don't think you'd really have to re-gear it.
This could have used it if it didn't have the Hemi in it. Like, if you have the 3.6 with 37s, you could benefit from re-gearing. But with the Hemi and 37s, it doesn't need it.
And I would even argue, like, re-gearing almost felt like a Band-Aid compared to putting a 5.7 in. Because, like, re-gearing a Gladiator on 37s, you're going to be at higher RPMs in your gears, but you're still not making max power yet. So it's kind of just, it's making it drive better, but it's not like being able to have that max torque at very low RPM. So we're making max power very quickly with this versus a 3.6. You have to rev the heck out of it to make max power. I don't know what else to say while you're driving like rural roads like this. It's planted, it's smooth, it's comfortable, and I would say, you know, we're of course running a Clayton 2.5 Overland Plus with the Adventure Series that you can get from AMW. That's a Jeep Performance Parts lift with the Bilstein shocks. Very comfortable ride there too. We've driven a few of those while we were out there.
Yeah.
And
what are your thoughts on the steering in general, since they've upgraded from, I'd argue, an upgrade from the digital steering?
Well, yeah, so the upgrade is, it's the electronic hydraulic steering. So it's like an electronic pump. And that's that whining that you used to hear, like they'd be like, zzz, that was it. Like the computer would tell it when to like pump more fluid through. This deleting that and going with like just standard old school power steering, as the RPMs go up, you have more power. So like back in the day when they were all belt driven and I'd take a YJ or a TJ out, if you wanted more steering power while you were wheeling, you just get up to higher RPM and the pump would spin faster, therefore creating more pressure.
Right.
That's what we have here. It's a simpler system. We're removed all that weight, all the complexity of the electronic unit, which if you guys have 392s, you know, going out to Moab, I would see a lot of people that would be electronic steering pump overheating. Like it would get errors on the dash because it's too hot. It's an electronic pump and you're in 100-degree weather. The steering difference when we went from that to this, that's probably one of the most noticeable things. And then we also did go the route of the Steer Smarts tie rod and drag link, which really stiffened up everything up front. But it's kind of effortless. It almost drives, I would argue the steering is better than when it was stock wheels, stock tires, no lift.
Yeah.
Like it has more power. Like the steering feels easier than even when it was a stock Jeep. And we didn't even go with a ported box or anything else. We just changed it from the electronic to the actual engine driven. So that's a big change on roads like this where you're constantly turning, you're constantly correcting.
When you get down here to the bottom and you're about to go up the hill, like give it a little juice, no pun intended. Obviously respect the speed laws, but give it a little juice. I want to see what this thing sounds like when you open it up a little bit going up these hills in these more rural areas. Sounds so good.
It's there. It's crisp. It's, I mean, the 3-inch mandrel bent stainless steel exhaust, like everything on here is tuned for what it needs to be. So I don't know. I mean,
So
I
guess my question is I'm not a truck guy, but somebody that has a 5.7 and maybe like a Hemi and like their Ram 1500, or
which I've driven a lot of those.
You understand the kind of the truck,
Yeah.
the truck guy who may have had one of those trucks or has one of those trucks, and is maybe considering it for the Gladiator. Like, what do you think? Does it hold up in a Gladiator compared to like the Ram?
I would say it's way more peppy. This is a lot quicker than a 5.7 in a truck. So with the Ram 1500, obviously it's a bigger vehicle, it's wider, it's longer, it's heavier. It still has that same engine. I mean, my mom, she is a Ram 1500. I've had how many Ram 1500s? We currently have one with a Hurricane, but I've owned a few with the 5.7. Modern ones, 5th gens, and that has power. The Ram has power with that 5.7, but it's not the same engine. This is a non-MDS engine. So, you know, in that one we go and it says eco mode and the cylinders shut down and it goes blah.
Yeah.
Like, that's in the Ram. I'm not saying the Ram doesn't make good power, but this has the pep. I think you get the pep back with the way AMW does this swap compared to driving a Ram 1500. But you still get the same benefits of an engine that's been around forever and something that has a lot of parts out there. But for the truck guys that are used to a Ram 1500, with this, you're just going to notice the increase in power. You're going to notice the increase in pep right away versus a Ram 1500.
And we will have a more detailed towing video in the future, really kind of highlighting that, but today it's just basically just driving what you're doing every single day, and
yeah,
it holds up to it.
It's your daily drive, right? Like, I mean, I know a lot of the builds that AMW does, some of them, like the Demons, the Hellcats, those, you can still daily drive them. It gets more to like the fun time with the Hellcats and the Demons. This is, I want more power in my Gladiator. I've already added on 37s. I have a lift kit. I have rooftop tent, overland trailer. This brings it. it kind of like brings it back to life, I would say. I mean, I had a 2020 Gladiator. Remember that big red one I had with 37s, Clayton 3.5-inch lift? When I lifted that and put it on 37s, it was a dog. I was getting like 12 miles a gallon. It was fighting to go in the RPMs, and I had a heavy ARB front bumper. I had all sorts of stuff going on with it.
So what do you, speaking of miles per gallon, what are you getting in kind of more of the rural areas right now?
So we just let this idle for about 10 minutes in front of the house. I think that cut it down, but it was getting like 16.5 I saw on here. And that's combined rural and some highway driving. We just took it on the highway yesterday to show another dealer these Jeeps, which is always fun to get their perspective too on them, just to throw them the keys and give someone that's used to driving a 3.6, and then you give them this, and now it's like, I mean, we're up to 55, 60 like it was nothing. Now, I did just reset the fuel economy too, so I want to kind of see what it's getting here on the highway. What we were averaging though is right around the 16.5 miles per gallon. That is subject to change because this engine is still breaking in. That's one big misconception. You got to let the engine really break in, do that first oil change, and then see what it's actually getting mile per gallon wise.
We really broke it in by driving it home from Michigan.
Yeah, we drove it like it was done. They driven it like AMW does their test drives. So you got to imagine that. Like, they don't just give you your keys back. They make sure the thing is absolutely perfect before you come up and pick it up. They might put some road miles onto it, 100, 150 miles, depending on what they deem necessary, to make sure when you pick that up and drive it. They've had people, yeah, I'm flying in from California and I'm going to drive it home.
Yeah.
We drove it. I mean, we drove it 8.5 hours. We didn't film that because we flew overnight, picked it up that morning, had 2 hours of sleep, and then drove it 8 hours.
Long story short is when we were filming the Hemi video, we finished to the point where they could start it up.
Right.
They needed to take the proper time to really kind of get it kind of dialed in,
right,
tuning wise and all the other stuff, which is really appreciated because, like, yeah, you want to be able to kind of grab the keys and go and expect it to be like a factory Jeep, like you're getting off a lot.
Right, and that's the biggest thing. Like, yeah, I don't know if people know that, but we did the build in that week there, but then that Thursday night we had to head out. We had a lot of other filming to do. We let it stay with them for another 2 weeks just to get everything really dialed in, and then we just flew back in from Vegas to pick it up. So that's one thing, is like when you're guesstimating how much time it's going to be away, the AMW team will tell you once you're on the schedule how much time and realistically it's going to take, but you don't want to rush perfection. But yeah, on the highway here, we're cruising, let me move this up, we're in 8th gear. Let me reset the fuel mileage. I'm trying to reset this to get like an accurate take, but right now we're getting, if I leave it 8th gear, 57 miles an hour, we're at like 1200 RPM. Very low RPMs. This is cruising speed. When you get up to 70, 80 miles an hour, we got up closer to like 1800, 2000 RPM, but it still didn't, it would stay in 8s. A lot of big complaints with the Gladiator guys, you go 37s, you go 40s, you never see 8th gear and you never see 7th gear because the engine won't do it. The 3.6 keeps you in 6th gear, 7th gear, because it can't make enough power in 8th. With the V8, it like wants to stay in 8th gear. So you're getting better fuel economy, less stress on everything, and your lower RPMs. Like right now at 1200 RPMs, we could cruise like this for a long time, and it's kind of wild. Once you start seeing like averages here, it's like current 18, current 20. Like there's a sweet spot for these Jeeps, but in all reality, we didn't buy it to get better fuel economy. We bought it for more power and also to bring life back into the Jeep. That's why we did the swap. It doesn't get old, and I'm excited because like in PA it is a whopping 41 degrees right now, but imagine this with the top and doors off rolling around like that. The exhaust sound is, I think that's probably gonna get a lot of people walking up in the summer and be like, what exhaust do you have on that? Like that's gonna be the biggest thing. But it's like, well, just a 5.7, you know, with an exhaust on it. But yeah, we're gonna get it up to a little bit higher speed here on one of the local highways here that we can get up to a little bit. We just called Max and the sales team over there at AMW to kind of field a lot of the questions that the guys submitting, you know, inquiries are asking about. And perhaps one of the biggest things is, what's the power feel like? Like, what does the power realistically feel like? Because a lot of you guys are driving these on the highway, and we drove it 8 hours, and it had absolutely no problem pulling us wherever we wanted to go. Yeah. I mean, it just really breathes life right back into it without the re-gear, without everything. So a lot of guys that are doing these swaps while we're out there already have rooftop tents, overland trailers. They're already weighted down.
Yeah.
This brings it back. And I would say too, I think they're like I think they actually have their extended range fuel tank that they're almost finished up with. I think they have them and they're selling. So imagine an extra like 20 or so gallons of fuel plus your stock tank. You could really overland this thing like crazy, you know? So the one thing, we are running premium fuel in this right now. AMW has the ability to do remote tuning. Right now, we wanted the most power though. We wanted to get this thing and really feel the most power. So we're running premium fuel in it. They have a couple different tunes depending on what octane you're looking to run. And maybe in the future, we'll run a few of those different octanes just to try everything out. Pennsylvania, unfortunately, we're one of the most expensive fuel states in the country. A lot of you guys in other states and southern states, premium's not even much more than regular. So for us, I know it's a big deal because it's like, what, 80 cents more a gallon? Which, yeah, it's a big deal, whatever. But it adds up. I can tell you with the 392, it added up. So, but yeah, they have a couple different tuning options and the ability to do remote tuning. So you plug it into the OBD2 port, it's connected to your like house's Wi-Fi or your garage's Wi-Fi, and then they can tune remotely. So you don't need to go back to Michigan, which is, I think that's really cool too. The merging power makes it safer for your family, especially when you have people like this that are going, what are you doing? There's literally a tractor trailer, right? It's this guy, buddy.
What is he doing?
Well, he just about got us clobbered from a tractor trailer behind us, so. I mean, he's going 45 in a 70, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
But that is one thing you really lose in the 3.6 Gladiators is the ability to, hey, there's somebody in front of me that I want to go around. Like you're up to speed quickly. And then as soon as you let off the gas, I love this engine and its ability just to drop back into 8th gear. Like it's just like, oh, okay, we got our power, we got everything we need. Yeah, let's drop back into a low gear and just cruise. So right now we're at about 70 miles an hour, right around 70 miles an hour, cruising. This is the key part, 373 gears, 70 miles an hour, 1600 RPM in 8th gear. Very good ratios right there. That's how you're gonna get the most fuel economy out of this thing, is if you can keep the RPM lower at higher speeds. What a regear does is gets your RPM higher at those speeds, but it gives you more power. So there's all those charts online that say what size tire, what should I regear to? And then if we're like going up a little hill here, it might drop into 7th a little bit if I get on it, but in reality, it was mostly 8th gear, then dropping back into 7th. And this is on 37s with stock gearing, so I think that's the impressive part. But a lot of you guys, I mean, you're in highways that are going 70, 80 miles an hour. How does it perform in those situations? A lot of the highways and turnpikes through Michigan and Ohio, those are 75, 80 mile an hour turnpikes. No issues at all.
Handle it like nothing.
Yeah, it just seems like, and in PA, we're very, like, our area is very hilly too, so you can even see, like, we're always up and down hills, even on the highways. And when you go up the hill, you might drop into 7th a little bit, but you're right back to 8th as soon as you're going down and you hit level grade. It sounds pretty reasonable too. I mean, a little bit more engine noise in the cab, of course, because we have a V8, and we want to do a video going forward. We're going to try and sound deaden the cab a little bit, just because in the Gladiators and the Wranglers, without the hardtop headliner, without anything on the flooring, they're noisy. There's a lot of wind noise, there's a lot of air noise coming through here, so we drive a ton. We want to try and do a video on some of that, but AMW, once again, has packages for that too. So while it's there, you can do a lot more than just do a 5.7. You can get their flooring kit that is the acoustic, the sound deadening flooring, audio kits, power steps. A lot of our guys that are having Jeeps done out there, they're doing a few things while it's there because you may as well. Yeah, it's just God, I don't know. It's hard to explain. It just feels like it feels like, you know, I said like you have a Ram 1500. It feels like you're driving that, but just in a different platform, but then you have the pep back.
Yeah.
So like when we cruise in a Ram 1500 out to Michigan, like you have the power, but this has more pep than that. It's a quicker, more responsive engine. But on the highway, yeah, you're just cruising along. There's no, and the steering wheel's dead straight too. I mean, it's great. It's nice to drive. I don't know how much more I can say positive about it besides this is the engine that should have came in these. All right, guys, well, I think that's going to wrap up this portion. We drove some rural roads, went on the highway a little bit and gave our take. But I think it's time we hand over the keys to someone that has had a 3.6 V6 Gladiator for quite some time, up on 37s, and maybe you guys might recognize him. I don't know. All right, guys, so we drove about an hour and a half away because we wanted to get someone that has experience in a Jeep Gladiator go behind the wheel of ours. And you might recognize this guy, but this is...
Hey, Rob here for Quadratec. Of course, Matt, thanks for thinking of me. Thanks for
brother. Yeah.
coming by today and bringing your Gladiator with some upgrades that I'm definitely looking forward to get behind the wheel and see how this 5.7 feels on the road, on the highway. I've had my Gladiator since the order banks opened, so I am definitely familiar with having a Gladiator with the 3.6 under the hood.
Well, you had said over 100,000 miles, so I won't break all the spoilers on here, but I want you to get in this thing, fired up, and just get on it, have some fun with it today, and like give our audience a little bit of your feedback, because I gave mine, but we've driven these things a little bit. You've had a long experience in the Gladiator, so I think it's going to be a good time.
Cool. Well, let's not stand here. Let's get in the Jeep, right?
Let's do it. All right, I guess there's only one thing left to do, and that's to fire it up.
I've been waiting, so...
Now
that sounds way better than my 3.6. Now I will say
it's not the cold start. We've been driving it, but
that's okay. I have a really great AWE exhaust on my Gladiator that makes the 3.6 sound about as good as it can, but it's still not a V8. There's no substitute for.
We'll get asked on this. What exhaust do you have on this? And it's like, well, it's a little bit more than just an exhaust.
Sure. Yeah. Cool. Well, let's go for a little ride. Luckily, we've got 202 right around the corner here, so we've got some local roads, we've got some highway we can jump on.
And you've driven some Hemis before in the past, so you have a little bit of experience when it comes to the Hemi swaps, but...
Yep. So, I mean, I've driven, the factory 392s, but I've not driven a 5.7 swapped Gladiator.
Right.
So, there's been a lot of buzz, and hopefully we see the V8 actually materialize in the Gladiator, because I think the one thing that the truck is really missing is just a little bit more.
And luckily for us, like AMW's already here to do it. So that's what we've been working with those guys. And it's just, there's a lot of different engines you can choose, but I think Gladiator owners, you could probably be the biggest proponent of this is the engine that should have came in these from the factory.
Yeah.
I think the 3.6 is a decent engine. I mean, it's lasted how many miles are on your Gladiator now?
So my truck has 112,000 miles.
Wow.
It is my daily, it is my wheeler, and it's had 37s on it since about 4,000 miles.
So quite some time.
Yeah.
So you're used to what a Gladiator on 37s feels like, drives like, and your gearing in your Rubicon is 410s.
Yeah, so I left my stock gears in the axles, the 410s. With the 8-speed transmission, it really makes up for a lot of it. I've driven some Gladiators with some gear swaps in them, and while it does make up for a little bit and kind of help you out with some of that off the line pickup, and but really I haven't really missed it.
Yeah.
In favor of keeping my stock gearing, my axles, factory when they were under warranty.
Kind of under warranty. Yeah.
And so I kind of just left them, and at this point, like it's, with 111,000 miles, at this point I'm not going to re-gear my axles unless I'm pulling them out.
Unless you put 1 tons underneath there or something.
Yeah. So, and they've performed great. With the 3.6 under the hood, it gets the job done, right? I mean, I use my truck. I tow a boat in the summertime. Right. I'll haul some trailers and things with it. So that was why I wanted the Gladiator over a Wrangler, because it was going to be my dual purpose kind of rig that, I wanted to use for a little bit of everything. Is it a 2,500 truck? No, I never expected it to be. But a V8 under the hood definitely helps.
Yeah, I think when you get on it a little bit, having experience what you have with basically the same gearing for all intents and purposes, but I think you're gonna like it.
Well, already I can say, just pulling out of the parking lot, coming down the road here, coming up the red light, it already feels like it's a little peppier. It's not kind of hesitating, it's not lagging, I'm not kind of waiting for it to catch up to me.
Right.
And it sounds good too. Yeah, that's nice.
It has the pickup. That's one thing I really noticed with this Jeep, is just, even with the 373s, the pickup is back again. When we went to 37s, even being with the 3.6, 373 gears,
it was kind of consistently downshifting all over the place by our driving style.
Yeah.
And one thing we noticed with this after driving it for 8 or 9 hours back from Michigan is that it found gears pretty easily. So
Yeah, I've kind of gotten used to driving my truck how it's set up, right? So I'll knock my transmission into the manual mode a lot, and I'll go through the gears because I can kind of keep it in its power band a little better than it can itself.
sure.
Whereas kind of from the factory, it'll want to wind all the way out.
That's what we noticed. Yeah, like especially like 5th and 6th would really like whine 4,500, 5,000 RPM, and I mean it's okay to do that to your engine, but you know it. You're really winding that thing out to get the power out of it.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to redline my engine every time I'm merging on the highway, right? So, I've left your Jeep in just our drive mode here, so I'm not messing with the gears, but already, I mean, not having that lag of when I want to go is impressive.
And one cool thing for this compared to the factory 392s is you still keep your standard transfer case. So
Right.
this is 2-wheel drive.
Yeah.
With those 392s, it's always in 4 auto. You've heard all the stories with those transfer cases and everything else going on with those. So
Yeah, so when they do the swap, right, all they do is they crack the case on the transfer case and swap the input side.
yep, and they'll do it with either, you can do it with the Rubicon transfer case or the standard transfer case like this, but brand new engine and brand new transmission. So someone in your case where you've had 111,000 miles on it, it's basically refreshing the entire heart
Yeah.
of that engine and driveline. So,
Don't sell me on it too hard, all right?
Okay, yeah. All right, hello, Jared. Yeah.
So
This is the sale right here.
Right.
Driving it. Yeah.
So I do have that. So what made you go with the 5.7 over one of the other packages that AMW offers?
So there's a lot, right? I mean, 5.7, 6.4, Hellcats, Demons, everything else. We did a 5.7 liter swap in our JL 6 years ago. And that's where we first met Jared at America's Most Wanted. We absolutely loved the 5.7 in the JL. It was getting great fuel economy, great low end torque, and it just overall performed how we wanted it to. For us, the biggest thing was asking our audience what they would want to see in a Gladiator. 99% of the answers was a 5.7.
Yeah.
If you could have got something from factory in the Gladiator, what would it have been?
Right.
So we used that, took that into account with what our goals were with this Jeep, and we went with the 5.7. I think it mixes the performance with fuel economy with the reliability of kind of a it's not a high performance engine that we're going to be racing this Jeep all around.
Right.
This is an engine, you can do this on the highway, but then still tow your boat, tow your trailer, and have a good time with.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, to me, so it seems like a very usable, real-world like case for a V8 under the hood of the Gladiator.
Right.
You know, you're not gonna. You could, but you're not going to take it down to the drag strip on the weekends and just go roast the tires off of this thing with 7,000-8,000 horsepower under the hood.
Right.
But if you're dailying a Gladiator like I am every day, I mean, it seems like it could be a very usable option.
Could you see yourself, I mean, you have a 3.6, just the drive, I'm sure you go on this highway back and forth to work, the ease of just the shift so far, does it feel different than what you're used to?
Yeah, I mean, like I mentioned, so it automatically kind of just sits like it's riding better, right? It's not lacking on the power and making up with it, winding out the gears. I'm impressed. I mean, it's driving just very kind of factory, very kind of feels normal to me.
Right. Just like factory plus, like OEM plus is kind of what their goal was. And when we pull back to the shop too, we'll show you under the hood so you can kind of see how they route it all. But even the factory hydro guide from the 392 ties into their airbox.
Yeah.
So it goes right in through, and you still retain, you retain a lot. Everything on the dash is working. All the engine lights will still work. So it's a pretty cool swap. I mean, we've been enjoying the past 2,000 miles with it, but we wanted to get someone that's had, 10 times that, 20 times that amount of miles to get behind it and see what they think of it. Yeah, I wish you would have got the cold start of it too.
Nah.
When you first fire it up, it's got...
Very nice.
Yeah, so it's got, the integration is what I really liked when it comes to underneath the hood.
Yeah.
The filter that goes over to obviously the driver's side, but then connects right to the hydro guide. there.
Right.
So just like the 392 from factory.
Yeah.
But having a peek around, if you didn't know, it was an AMW swap. Like, besides on the covers there.
Yep.
It looks.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, to the casual, you know, passerby, if you were at a Cars and Coffee or Jeeps and Java or whatever, you know, if they weren't super knowledgeable on this not being a factory option, yeah, it's very factory kind of finished look to it, which, you know, I've always liked that AMW has done. Them having their turnkey setups that are available gets you, you know, something that I would be comfortable like doing this and then putting another 100,000 miles on the truck, right? Because it's not something that's cobbled together in somebody's garage somewhere. It's not a harness that's been cut and spliced.
And we've seen all those before in the past. And,
sure, I mean, you know, the LS swapped TJs that, you know, how many of those are out there? And, you know, some are really well done and some are pieced together. So, no, that's super clean. And to see them integrating the Hydra Guide and everything into the setup.
And one thing you probably noticed driving too, they changed from the electronic steering pump to an actual engine-driven pump.
Right.
Which when we first got in one, just the ease of that and how much more pressure.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely, it drove really nice on the highway. It drove nice, you know, a couple of these red lights and surface roads and things like that. I'm sure it's going to do great off-road too. I can imagine that new pump will really help, especially if you get bound up and stuff, things that are a little tight.
It's now belt driven, so yeah. Versus that whine of the electronic, that's fully deleted now, so not even in there anymore.
So again, I just want to say thank you so much for bringing this thing by today. Let me check it out. It was a blast to drive.
Absolutely.
And this may be in my future here soon, so we'll say thanks so much again.
Absolutely, no problem.
Of course, I'll let you get out of here. Until next time, guys, if you like these videos, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I'm Rob. You know, I'll see you. No, I can't do this. I can't see you out on the trail because it's not my channel. Go over to Quadratec's YouTube channel right now and let Matt come back in. He can finish up his video.
All right, guys. Well, once again, thank you guys so much for watching the Driving Groove. We felt like it was someone that we needed to have on the channel to check this out. Thank you so much, Rob, for being on here. You know, once again, thank you guys for watching this whole video. We have a lot of content planned with the Jeep that we've got behind us here. Driving Review was the first. We're doing some towing. We're going to be doing some off-roading very soon. But if you guys are interested in doing a conversion like this to one of your Jeeps, even if you've got 111,000 miles, please reach out. We have our link on the website where you can get connected to the team at America's Most Wanted and get a Jeep just like this in your driveway. Thank you guys so much. Until next time, my name's Matt. Ryan's behind the camera. Special guest Rob. And we want you to get out there and earn yours.